today.
Well, he will do it, I really believe. And this is deja vu all over again, because if you go back to week 1 when they lost to the Saints, then they played the Panthers right away, and they won that game. And Leonard Fournette had a lot of yards, over 102 touchdowns. And then last week they lose to the Saints, and they're playing the Panthers again. And so the difference is Christian McCaffrey is not playing in this game. And Leonard Fournette has got to play in this game. He didn't show up last week because they didn't hand the ball off. So how, you asked, is let's use this stable of running backs. You got Leonard Fournette. He was the 4th pick in the draft. And Ronald Jones and LaShawn McCoy, they were 2nd-round picks. And Keyshawn Vaughn. These guys were drafted for a reason. Let's hand the ball off to them. Let's get balanced and run a little play-action pass, and they'll get right back on track.
And, Coach, there's one thing that no quarterback, no matter how great you've played this game, is immune to, and that's pressure. When you get pressure on any quarterback, including Tom Brady, it changes the way he plays. We saw it last week. Quick pressure, early pressure on Tom Brady, and he's starting to look around. He's starting to get off his reads. He's starting to go through things quicker and check the ball down. And that is what has been the nemesis for this Bucs team all year long, is when, they've been hit 40% pressure in their losses, 9 sacks in their losses, quarterback rating of 68 in their losses. When you get pressure on Tom Brady, he hasn't been nearly as effective. Now, they're playing the Carolina Panthers. They've got 10 sacks. They've only got 10 sacks on the season. So when you look at pressure and you look at the ability to get quick pressure on the quarterback, Carolina has not been very good this year. That, to me, is the formula for Tom Brady to be comfortable back there, to settle in, to play good football. And that, to me, is why they get back on track.
And I'm breaking it down and putting a nice little bow on what you guys are talking about. You're talking about running. You're talking about protecting. I'm saying that comes down to the offensive line. Plain and simple. We need better offensive line play out of this offensive line to keep Tom Brady up so he can do what he needs to do. Kurt, I know I mess with you sometimes about him not getting the ball downfield, but how can he? You're talking about how if your body's in a bad position, you can't put your arm strength into it. We know Tom needs all he can to get where he needs to be. So he needs to be able to step in 2 plays. So I'm putting it on the offensive line to step up, give him the protection, and get the running going. That's how they do it today.
Yeah, Ali Marpet is not going to go today. He's out with a concussion as they're reconfiguring that offensive line today in Carolina. Let's send things to that great state. James Palmer, take it away.
Well, thank you, Rich. After that 38-3 loss to the Saints, arguably the worst of Tom Brady's career, Brady told reporters, we need to recognize that we can never relax. We need a greater sense of urgency. We need to fix our mistakes faster. 2 of the big issues they wanted to correct this week was getting off to slow starts. They did get off to a quick start in week 2 against the Panthers. They could do that again today. And then also their issues on 3rd down. 1 for 9 against the Saints a week ago. And keep an eye on Antonio Brown playing a part in that. He does some things the other receivers really can't do. They think he's picking everything up mentally very quickly in all of the extra meetings and extra walkthroughs he's been going through. Now let's go to Ian Rappaport with some news on the Panthers.
Thanks, James. Christian McCaffrey, the Carolina Panthers star running back, is out today with a separated shoulder. That's the bad news. The good news is it sounds like it's going to be a pretty short absence from McCaffrey. And make no mistake, midway through this week, there was some nerves. He was getting a second opinion on his shoulder. He was in a ton of pain. You're seeing the injury right there from last week. Significant amount of pain late on Sunday, early Monday. They wanted to make sure that this was something that really had limited damage. That's exactly what they found. So McCaffrey, I'm told, is expected back next week. Of course, today you're going to see a ton of Mike Davis, who filled in so capably for McCaffrey when he was out with a high ankle sprain. Now let's send it to Foxborough, Mike Giardi.
Thank you, Ian. Lamar Jackson making news this week with our own Rich Eisen when he said the Ravens offense is being called out by opposing defenses and that teams are getting beat to the punch with what they're trying to do. Talked to a couple Patriot defenders, and they kind of agree with where Lamar is coming from. Adrian Phillips, the Patriots safety and one of the toughest guys in the NFL, said, when you boil it down, their offense is very simple, just a lot of smoke and mirrors. Devin McCourty said, look, this is our 2nd year getting to look at this offense on tape, and we feel much more comfortable defending it. Meanwhile, it really comes down to Lamar's performance, especially from the pocket. Last year, 28 touchdown passes from the pocket was best in the league. This year, just 8. His quarterback rating down 25 points. Rich?
All right, Mike, appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate the courtesy right there. Had Lamar Jackson on my show this week, Steve.
You got a show?
I don't really have a show.
You stirred it up, man. You really did.
Got a mug.
Got a mug.
How about that?
Irv, you got a mug yet?
No, I don't have a mug.
MIP?
It's double-sided. It's double-sided. No.
I got a
Seriously.
bag of chips.
I knew you were going to say that. At any rate, Lamar was kind enough to call into the show today, and it was a simple question I asked him. Is it looked things were not coming as easy this year, and this is what he had to say.
Just from the eye test, it looks like things aren't coming as easy for you this year. Is that a safe way to look at it? That things aren't.
I feel it's a lot of with schemes. We're going against defenses. They calling out our plays, stuff like that. Like they know what we're doing. So a lot of that, sometimes stuff won't go our way if they beat us to the punch.
So you're hearing on the other side of the line of scrimmage the defense calling out your plays? That's what
they definitely do. Like runs, stuff like that. Watch out for this, watch out for that. Sometimes that's what's going on. So.
Less than last year at this point in time, or what would you say the difference so far?
I don't know. I'll just say the play calling really is. No, I wouldn't say I'm running less or running more. We're trying to do whatever it takes to win.
All right, Steve, what do you make of it?
That was juicy, okay? That's good stuff. But you know what? The Steelers are saying, they got 457 yards against the the undefeated team in the league. And so here's the thing. This offense is now in another year, all right? And defensive coordinators and coaches.
Oh, they study.
Pretty good. And defensive players, they study. You got another year of tape on them, and they do off-season projects. Talk to college coaches on how to stop this stuff, and they look at it. And you know what? So they're preparing to stop it. They should be calling out some things by formation. You know what? If they have tendencies, Lamar, if you have tendencies, that can be a good thing because that means you're doing things over and over again that you do well. Now you just got to find a way to do something different off of that formation or that look and fool them once in a while. So I think that, it's good to have tendencies. Yes, when people are calling out, hey, they watch a screen or watch a quick throw or whatever that is, that's going to happen. Just execute and stay one step ahead of them by changing up a little bit, and they're going to do that. It is a simple offense.
And it is the worst thing in the world when you go up to the line of scrimmage and you hear the defense going, hey, watch this pass or watch this run. You're going, oh, shoot, that's exactly what we got called. We need to do something different here. So it's a terrible feeling. But it happens all over the place because it's about splits. It's about formations. As you said, Coach, all teams have tendencies and they have things that they do well. You could go through the National Football League and you are going to see teams that repeat the same play over and over and over again, and oftentimes it's in the same formation. So that's not rare. As you mentioned, Coach, it's a simple offense. And I think that really is what it comes down to, is last year it was a simple offense. But they were really good at running that offense. Their offensive line was dominant. They had that 3 tight end set that nobody could really match up to, and it was new. It was different. Nobody had ever really seen it or hadn't seen it like that in a long time. And you have Lamar Jackson back there at quarterback. So everything's new and everything's coming at you. And we've seen this over and over again. When the zone read first came into the league, man, it was tearing up the league. And then all of a sudden people are like, all right, hit the quarterback every time. All right, it's going to pull us out of that. I remember back in '99, my first year with the greatest show on turf. I would go back there and go, man, my first guy's open every time. This is easy. This NFL thing is easy. Well, year 2, it wasn't quite as easy. In year 3, it was even harder because teams see it. They understand where you're trying to go. They take that away. They take your next guy away. Now you got to get to number 3. Now you got to get to number 4. And that really becomes the question here. Is this offense has to go beyond 1 and 2 options and push it to 3 and 4. The quarterback has to go beyond 1 and 2 options, push it to 3 and 4. And they have to play better as a football team, specifically in the offensive line, if they're going to play this brand of football. But let's not forget, Michael, they're still number 1 in the league in rushing the football. Correct. It just doesn't look like last year when it was 200 and whatever yards a game running the ball.
And it doesn't look like it optically to our eye gate because we haven't seen those insane, incredible runs by Lamar Jackson. Let's be real here now. Let's be straight. When the teams come in and say, okay, well, we're going to find out the attack point of this offense and we're going to attack it differently, that slows down the run game. But the one thing I thought about, because I knew this would happen, it happens to every offense like you guys just talked about. The one thing I thought about, well, you can't design something for the gifts that God has given Lamar Jackson. But they have. He just hadn't had those big-time crazy plays that we've seen a year ago. And Kurt, you were talking about, let me tell you something, man. Whenever I cut that split down, I remember when I first got in the league, I cut that split down about 6 yards outside of the tight end. The whole defense, Michael's coming on the under. Michael, I was like, how do they know I'm running the under? How do they know? Oh, my God. And I got to run it anyway. And an under, that's like 5 yards right in front of the linebackers. Like, I got to go. They're going to hit me, man. And then I had to learn, okay. You know, they know. They've seen this before. You know, you run it anyway. It's just the funniest thing in the world. And it will shock you at first, and you got to still run that play. But it's just tendencies, man. In Baltimore, they have to figure out how to do other things great.
Try being the guy with the ball in your hands when the defense is calling out, hey, Michael's running a skinny, he's running an under. Oh, all right, what am I going to do with this football?
Right, I do want to say this because I know that soundbite, you know, clanked around a lot of places, and we're talking the conversation about the offense. You could see we're asking if it is too predictable. The one thing that I don't think anybody should take from this is that Lamar showed up with an agenda, and there's an issue with him and the coaching staff. He's an agendaless guy. Like, if you've ever been around him, I don't think he had an agenda. There are some people who I've heard said that. Trust me, my Twitter feed has been kind of on fire last few days. So I saw.
Lamar, I don't think Lamar's going to take that. Now, I wish, you know, Judge Michael can sit down and talk to Lamar and tell him that when he's speaking, just kind of think of the Miranda rights here. Whatever you say will be used against you. I'm just saying.
But you should still call into the Rich Eisen show and talk to the host.
I just want to know.
You should still call into the Rich Eisen show and talk to the host. And answer is honest, sincere, pointed, well thought out, informational yet informative.